Hello everyone. All right, it's time to talk about the Acolyte episode 5. First of all, I just want to say a few things before we get started. If I sound a bit weird today, it's because I've been sick, probably after some of the travel I've done for Star Wars Outlaws, so that's the reason for the voice problems, and if I suddenly break into a coughing fit, I do sincerely apologize, but hopefully my editor cuts that out before you guys see it, so you don't see me at my lowest state. Can you believe we are already up to episode 5 of 8? There are only 3 episodes remaining in what has been probably the most controversial Star Wars series ever. But Star Wars and controversy have a history of going hand in hand. Remember, it was all the way back in 1999 when The Phantom Menace released. Fans hated it with a serious passion. Having been the first Star Wars that we'd received basically since the original trilogy, The Phantom Menace was so different in so many ways that it wasn't received quite with the same warmth, I guess, that the original trilogy were. That said, this is a different time. We're at a different point in not only the Star Wars timeline, but the timeline of us consuming Star Wars projects, which in some ways do feel oversaturated, like we've just been given so much Star Wars in recent times. That said, I am still enjoying getting more Star Wars. I think more Star Wars is a good thing, and we need to keep getting more. And that brings me to the Acolyte episode 5, titled Night. This is easily, for me, the best episode in the series, and honestly, probably because most of it was action sequences. Obviously, as well, if you've made it this far, just a heads up, there will be spoilers in this video for the Acolyte. I'm going to go pretty deep into what happened in this episode, so if you don't want to get spoiled, stop watching now. Like I've said with each passing week of making these videos, I have been quite critical of the Acolyte series. Normally, I'm very optimistic about Star Wars. I enjoy new Star Wars, good Star Wars, bad Star Wars. I just want more Star Wars in general, and I'm always trying to look at it in a positive light, trying to see the good in it, trying to see, I guess, what the show creators are doing, the direction they're taking it, and what new content, I guess, it's bringing to the Star Wars galaxy and to our enjoyment as fans. At the end of the day, this is supposed to be entertainment. Star Wars is something we enjoy for fun. So if it's not fun, then I have a huge problem. For me, a lot of this season hasn't been that fun. It's just been a bit of a grind to get through and some painful moments, which I'm not going to necessarily mention again. But this episode has definitely changed my opinion of that in a slight way. It's a little bit. It's still there. I still have criticisms. But namely, I was quite critical of the ending of episode 4. The way it ended on such a cliffhanger, kind of feeling really cheesy. Honestly, a lot of people compared it to an episode of Flash Gordon, which is funny, seeing as though George Lucas was influenced by the Flash Gordon series from way back in the 1950s and 60s when making the original Star Wars. That said, I don't think it's quite a flattering element that you'd want to bring back for a show like this, especially in the modern day. The ending for me just felt kind of cheesy, kind of lame. The way they just cut straight after the Force push. For me, I said I think it would have been much more suspenseful had they just done the reveal of the Acolyte, the reveal that Kelnaka has been sliced open and killed, and then cut pretty much there, with perhaps the Acolyte turning on his red lightsaber, instead of starting the actual action sequence. For me, that was just like a massive cliffhanger, massive tease, and I was like, as if you'd cut there. Anyway, when episode 5 started, I was almost worried that we weren't going to see the conclusion or continuation of the action, that it was kind of going to go into a flashback or something from the past. I'm so glad that they actually went with what happened, that they didn't tease us for another episode, that they're like, yeah, we're taking off right from pretty much where we left off with the Acolyte, the dark side wielding character, fighting all of the Jedi. Now, I have a number of thoughts that I want to discuss with you guys about all of this stuff involving not only the Jedi, but the mention of an S word. I'll get to that in a bit. And no, it's not Senate. I am the Senate. Remind me not to do voices when I'm sick, please. First of all, I was a bit annoyed how dark some of these scenes are. I don't know if it's just me and my eyes, but seriously, so many Disney Plus shows in recent times, the Disney Plus Star Wars shows, have just been lit so darkly. And yes, we can see the lightsabers flying around, but I feel like it's kind of dark just to hide the lack of movement and lack of action. However, that said, I did enjoy a lot of the fight sequences in this. First of all, it is so cool, and I'm so glad they killed off so many of the Jedi. They're just like, nah, they're not going to survive. It felt like I was watching Predator for a bit. Honestly, likely inspired by it. Something in the forest that they can't really see is taking them all out one by one. It's definitely getting those Arnold Schwarzenegger vibes. Get to the chopper, that whole thing. Get to the chopper! Plo Koon copy dies. It's not Plo Koon, it was confirmed. It's a female character. This Keldor species Jedi. But so many of them get killed straight up, just sliced open, dead, dead, dead. And it was actually quite brutal seeing the stab wounds. Yes, they did go behind the tree when their heads were being cut off, but it was there and it was happening. Obviously, I'm not expecting sequel level cinematography or stunt choreography here. I think that's kind of unrealistic considering the actors from the prequels had so many months to practice and rehearse these, and Nick Gillard was involved, who was the stunt coordinator, and created these incredibly memorable action sequences. That said, I did enjoy a lot of this and thought it was better than some of the stuff we've had in Ahsoka. There are a few moves here and there that were just like, oh, that's really cool. How some of the Jedi were saving others in certain instances, pushing them out of the way. I thought one thing that was interesting, the Acolyte has some kind of thing on his wrist, I believe, which was causing the lightsabers to turn off. It was kind of like a malfunction kind of thing because I didn't see him slice them open. I'm pretty sure it was something on his wrist, like an arm brace kind of thing that was knocking them, and it was like putting a, I guess, a EMP charge through lightsabers, stopping them from working. Kind of cool, kind of interesting, but he used it multiple times and I'm like, is this just like a new thing for this, or have we seen this before? I don't know. Okay, so we get the death of multiple Jedi, and then the Acolyte eventually faces off against Jackie, who I've really enjoyed. She's probably one of my favorite characters. She's just a little quirky and weird. I don't know, kind of fun in a different way in this series. And then she goes dual wield with 2 green lightsabers. This for me was so epic to see a dual wielding Jedi character, and something I guess we haven't really seen in a while in Star Wars, especially the way she's holding reverse grip, kind of Ahsoka style in some ways. Her technique with the dual wield was very different to Ahsoka's, I guess you'd say, and also different to how Anakin wields them in Attack of the Clones. It's more like Starkiller. Let's go with Starkiller. George Lucas hated Starkiller, so he's not going to like me saying that.
And I want you to get out of this office right now.
Okay, so we get the cool sequence with Jackie, and then she dies. She gets killed. And the Acolyte character splits his saber in half, turns on another one, and stabs her multiple times. I was like, oh my gosh. I literally thought she was going to survive. I thought she was going to be one of the ones who made it through, considering she was in more of the marketing, I guess. And, you know, she's a Padawan. It's kind of brutal to kill her. And then also Yord comes in to try and save the day, which he does in some ways. He has his little moment, and then he too is killed. So Yord and Jackie and all of the other Jedi, pretty much apart from Sol, who, let's be real, is the standout here and the most captivating character in this show so far, are all dead. Everyone's dead. I really like that. I really like that they flip the expectations, that they're like, yeah, we're going to kill everyone. But that said, I feel like that's part of the identity crisis I've talked about that this show is suffering from a bit, because there are moments where it feels kind of like a kid's show and you're like, this is too childish and the jokes they're making are just a bit too basic and silly. And then straight up they kill every character in quite a brutal fashion. So clearly not. Clearly they're kind of going between different modes here, I guess you'd say, and different styles, different genres. Also, the reveal that the Acolyte character is in fact Quimir, I think we all saw coming. I think pretty much since this character was introduced, we all kind of speculated that it was going to be him, and we were all right. It's been revealed to be him. He is indeed the Acolyte. However, we need to talk about the S word, because when Sol asks him what he is, he says,
"What are you?"
Jedi like you might call me Sith.
Which I think is possibly problematic because, as Ki-Adi-Mundi says in the prequels,
the Sith have been extinct for a millennium.
So I have a few theories about how this makes sense and how they are actually continuing on, and what Ki-Adi-Mundi said is fine, and this isn't a retcon. First of all, he's not really a Sith. Perhaps he's just posing as one, perhaps he's just following the Sith ideals, but he's not actually classified as a Sith. Second of all, Ki-Adi-Mundi somehow and the High Jedi Council don't find out about what happened here and what happened with Quimir, don't find out that he was, I guess, an Acolyte, or I don't know. It kind of doesn't make sense to me though, considering how many Jedi died here, and obviously they're going to find out about it and they're going to want to talk about it. They're like, hey, didn't you go to that planet with like 10 other Jedi and now there's only one of you left? I feel like the other Jedi are going to be a bit concerned about that. Do you know what I mean? I guess the other way this makes sense is that they're retconning this and Ki-Adi-Mundi maybe just has a bad sense of memory. Maybe he's just got memory loss. Maybe he experiences something that he goes through and he just completely forgets, oh, that's right. this happened, which I think a lot of people are going to be frustrated about. But let's let them wrap it up first. Let's let them get to the end of the series and hopefully explain what's going on here and who this character is. Hopefully we get the reveal of who he is. I honestly thought Sol was going to kill him as well, and I kind of would have enjoyed that. I was like, yeah, just straight up do it. Go full dark side. Who cares about the Jedi anymore? He's just killed like 10 of your other Jedi, your friends. You've seen your Padawans die. Straight up, cut his head off. Do it.
Do it.
And there was a moment before Osha yelled out that I was like, yeah, he's 100% going to kill Quimir. Kind of disappointed that he was stopped. Also, the fact that Quimir got taken up by the bugs into the trees and stuff, we all knew he was going to survive, let's be real. If we don't see an on-screen death, and if they didn't end it right here, he's going to survive. So it was kind of a dumb move on their behalf. I feel like Sol as well needed to just get this done here, because sure, maybe there's a chance to turn the character back to the light side. That seems like it's far gone. Possibly more Jedi and more people are going to suffer and die because of this Sith character. So wouldn't it be the lesser evil to just kill him here? But the Jedi are all conflicted inside. Would Qui-Gon have killed him? That's the real question. What would Qui-Gon have done? A lot of people comparing Sol to Qui-Gon. Li Zhongjae, who plays Sol, even said that Qui-Gon is his favorite Jedi. I really want to see what Qui-Gon would have done. Let's get a Qui-Gon prequel show. That'd be sweet. Honestly, need to talk about May and Osha a little bit. I'm personally just not really enjoying their acting. I think they're a little overacted, and there are moments where I'm like believable and fully in the show, but then there are other moments where I'm like, this doesn't feel right. It just feels a bit fake. I don't know if that's me being too critical, but personally, I don't really care about the sisters. I'm not that invested in their story, in their balance, the way I guess they're kind of stuck in the past and everything that happened back on their homeworld involving the Jedi. For me, the Sith character, how he exists, is way more interesting, and Sol's relationship to that. Sol's internal struggle, I think, is what's more interesting. Sure, this terrible thing has happened in the past. However, I'm not really that interested in the twins' perspective of this. I'm interested in Sol's inner conflict, and I hope he takes more of the protagonist role in the show as it moves forward, especially considering now all the other Jedi have died. I don't think that's going to be the case. But like I said, he's definitely the most captivating, most interesting thing that's happening on the screen at the moment. He's definitely the one I want to see more of, so let's focus on him. Honestly, just want to say, I know this is kind of a fan service thing, but it is kind of cool seeing the yellow lightsabers in action being properly used in a show. I don't know, just a bit different, and I enjoyed that. But at the same time, I want to talk a little bit more about Quimir, because like, where has he come from? Who has trained him? Was he part of the Jedi Order? Sol said he senses something familiar with him. Also, I'm not sure why he's wearing the mask. Is that just his personal thing? Is that how he feels? He can channel his inner dark side. Does he have a more specific reason for it? I'm not really sure, but I really am interested in his origin story. Like, where did he come from? Who is he? How did he get to the dark side? And why is he now trying to have an apprentice, even though I guess that is the rule of two that the Sith adhere to? Like I said, not really sure how I feel about him being a real Sith. I really hope that's not the case and that we're not retconning the prequels, because that would kind of suck. And especially considering how much the show creators here have talked about being influenced by the prequels and what was created in the prequels, not only the Star Wars lore, but I guess the political side of Star Wars and following the Jedi code, how the Jedi behave, they act in the Jedi Temple, all of that, the whole Jedi creed. And that's what's influenced this series. So it would be a real shame if they were retconning what Ki-Adi-Mundi said. And I know that's going to be a huge point of contention for so many people. Let's just wait to see what they have to say and how they resolve this though, because we have no confirmation that he is a real Sith. Maybe he's just self-proclaimed Sith, which I'm not sure it works like that. I want to say as well, he doesn't have the Sith eyes. Not all Sith do, but that's one thing that points me in the direction of him not having them and not being a Sith Lord. I'm sure there's some other stuff that I've missed this week. Like I said, kind of feeling sick, hoping I'll be better for next week. Looking forward to the next episode. This for me was definitely the best one of the series, but let me know what you thought of this week's episode. And if you're enjoying this series, please leave a like. That helps me out a lot. Thank you so much. My name's Andrew. Go watch my Star Wars Outlaws videos as well on the main channel, and I'll catch you soon.